The Evening Brothers are proud to present Twinkie Talk.
Oh, that was perfect.
Ooh, on the dot.
God,
We're getting so good at it, guys.
Holy shit.
A lot of people take more than 2 tries to get it perfectly right, but I already think this is going to be a flawless podcast.
This is as good as podcasts get.
Welcome to Twinkie Talk, brought to you by the Evening Brothers. I'm Brother Lincoln.
I'm Brother John.
I'm Brother Preston.
Twinkie
And
Talk.
congratulations, Preston. You did it without laughing.
He did it without laughing. I was trying to tell them what we do.
I want you to know there was so much self-control just then.
That's actually the most self-control I've seen you exhibit in years.
It's really difficult.
Twinkie Talk is a podcast about movies by a bunch of white dudes. Go ahead. So we got to say something about it. We can't just not say anything, and that seems to have fallen on my shoulders now.
I feel like we should also warn people that these are not good movies that we are reviewing and discussing.
Yeah, it's like a cinematic punishment system.
Yeah. Which, after watching what we watched for this week, I feel like I let both of you off easy for real steal.
Can I tell you something? I agree with you. I don't know why you
really
thought
did.
that was the movie to go with.
Yeah. I mean, I barely talked
Wait,
last time because I had nothing to include because I love that movie.
You did openly weep, though, as we were tearing it to shreds.
I did,
it was
yes.
it was
I will
very
freely
sad.
admit that.
It was rough.
Yeah.
There's so many
Very
tears
difficult.
and sniffles I had to cut out later. Hugh Jackman. When Preston started describing the way that little Adam won the match but lost the numbers at the end, I saw the twinkle in his eye.
See, I think he lost me when he started talking about verisimilitude. That was enough for me to not really be on board.
When he brought up formalism, I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
What
speaking
did
of,
we watch, Preston? You
well.
dumb piece of garbage that made us watch this movie.
Hey. You're the one who wanted to watch Q the Winged Serpent. You just keep that in mind, my
I'm
good
proud
sir.
of that.
So we watched XXx, starring Vin Diesel as Xander Cage. It's a film from 2002.
Man, boy, was it.
And
goddamn right, it was from
it
2002.
is one of my favorite, just like really terrible early 2000s garbage action movies.
One of.
One of them, yes. I won't lie. I enjoy this movie in a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hateful.
Yes, exactly. In a very hateful way, yes.
In an aggressive way.
Yes.
We sometimes, I don't want to start a podcasting tradition here, but we sometimes give each other homework to do before we watch the movie. So could you tell our paying
certainly.
audience
Oh, yes.
what
that
our
was a
homework was?
Great place to start. Yeah, so the homework was to write down a list of common dumb tropes from late 90s, early 2000s action movies, and check them off the list as you watch this movie, because I think this movie has so many of them.
So I would love to hear everybody's.
We want to go through the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Preston, you
did
should go first.
Did you write a list?
I will. So I wrote a list.
That was the of no, I definitely didn't write a list.
No,
He's like flipping through his backpack. It's got to be in here somewhere.
My
I have a list.
my dog ate my homework. My dog ate my list. I don't. I was gonna write the list before I had to save a baby from a house fire, but
my list is a little on the shorter side just because I think I watched this movie like a month ago.
just of your own volition.
That was before the challenge of watching it.
Right. Well, no, because it's like it's I don't know. Sometimes you just need a really dumb, terrible movie just to.
You just woke up. You're like, I would love to see Vin's early work. I'd like to see where this artist began.
Anyways, point of this is, I feel like if I had made too much of a list, I would have been like picking things straight out of the movie, and that would have been cheating just a little bit. So it's definitely. I would like to hear John's or one of your guys' list first.
Yeah, John, you go ahead.
Yeah, cool. So I had seen this movie once, many moons past, when I was the target demographic, which was a 12-year-old boy.
Also, the author of the movie, a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I had seen this. I do not remember anything that happened in this, but I tried to make this list. And well, I'll tell you what, the only ones that I was like trying that I thought I had pulled from the movie were the ones that didn't get checked off. So I don't know what movie I was thinking of. I definitely have seen this though, because I remember his big like coat. So here's my list. Number 1, a thing happens that would absolutely kill any side character, but the protagonist is fine. Check. Number 2, completely ridiculous fake death that fools absolutely no one. Check. Number 3, women are horny for big muscle man doing a thing that if it were anyone else with less muscles, they would find it repulsive. That's number 3. Number 4 is 100,000 bullets are fired at the hero and they all somehow miss. Number 5 is a bomb, but not a normal bomb, like a bomb on some sort of speeding vehicle, like a train or a plane.
Wow, that was good.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one. Number 6 is a bad one-liner with a pun, which kind of didn't happen in this one. It did a little bit, but it was mostly Xander Zone based.
Yeah,
I love the
that's
Xander
true.
Zone.
That's true.
I was going to open this
7.
podcast by saying "Welcome to the Xander Zone." I forgot.
Oh, that's a shame that we missed out on that comedy gold. That's a bummer. Shoot, do you want to start over, Lincoln? We could start over.
Through the
Yeah, that
magic
just-
of editing, he can say "Welcome to the Xander Zone" anytime
And
he
just-
wants.
let's-
Really,
Just put it at the front. Everybody, shut up. Give Lincoln a chance. Go.
Welcome to the Xander Zone.
I hated that. I hated that so much. That was like an anti-ASMR.
that made me really uncomfortable.
Number 7, shifting gears way too much in a manual car. Number 8, multiple bad guys attack the hero one by one. Number 9, hero is best in the business, but that's mostly dumb luck. 10, forgettable villain so as not to overshadow the hero. 11, the clip in a gun holds approximately 800 bullets, so you don't have to reload. Number 12, gun jams at just the right moment, which I feel like didn't really happen. 13, that car must have been made of TNT based on the size of the explosion. 14, shooting the gas tank. 15, villain does something bad so that we know they're bad. And then 16, sets up for a sequel, but just vaguely enough that if the movie completely flops, they'll never have to make another one.
Wow.
That's a really solid list. I'm
Thank you.
genuinely impressed.
Some of me is a little bit listening back to the fact that we all had to make 16. It's a big list, so I'll just go ahead and do mine now.
16, so many.
It is
Did we
it took a
decide
like
on a number?
yeah,
we
you told us
decided on
16
and we both
because it's like
Lincoln and
that's
I
like a
fought
4x4,
Well,
and then we said okay, fine, we'll do 16.
no, that's
so
because I wanted to make it all convoluted and make it a bingo card.
Yeah, I
well, here's
remember
my
that.
16.
And then we decided it was a list, so I didn't realize that there was still a number attached to that.
I do think mathematically I did hit bingo somewhere in there, though. I just want that
I
to be
probably
noted.
did too.
I feel like there's only like 1 or 2 of those that didn't actually happen. So,
Yeah.
all right, Lincoln, what's your
Okay,
do share
Fire
your
away.
list?
Okay, one was it didn't happen. I said girl fight. Kind of disappointed that didn't happen. 2, Matrix style speed ramping, but done poorly. Suiting up montage. That's number 3. Number 4, lots of black clothes. Nailed that one.
Nice. Yeah, 10 out of
number
10.
5, badass one-liner before the fight begins, which kind of happened. He said, "I live for this shit," and then he fell out of a plane.
That was pretty sweet.
And then next was gratuitous use of electric guitar, which I was just immediately gratified with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get 10 seconds into the movie without that particular one.
There, we will have a long discussion about that opening scene and song.
That's great news.
And then the next one is someone will say the main character's name, and then the other person will be like him, and then we'll cut to the main character doing something reckless,
That's a good one.
which I think I got. The next one says early CGI explosions with way too much flame and absolutely no like particulates in the air, which I think happened. The next one didn't happen. I said lots of heat waves messing with the frame, which it was filmed in a cold place, so there's no heat waves to use. Next one, I said most of it is shot in singles with the camera only moving for big action set pieces. Next one, breaking into the rich bad guy's house while he's having a wild, crazy party. Again, which was the first thing that happened in the movie. Next one just says drug use is evil. My next one says making contact with a deplorable person who has the info we need. Next one says a woman's clothes get tattered from the battle, but the man stays about normal. Didn't happen. And then I said romantic subplot with no real development.
There you go. That's a good one.
And then I said the last one said a government official saying it's too risky.
Wow, that's like 18% of the script, I think.
That's every line that Samuel L. Jackson says.
Also, speaking of Samuel L. Jackson, can we acknowledge that he is just Nick Fury in
He's
this
just
movie?
doing a Nick Fury.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, my list is a little more generic because, again, I've seen this movie relatively recently and I didn't want to,
Out of his own free will.
That's why all 16 of them are butts. I don't know why all 16 options.
There's definitely not
He paused
16
it.
of them, so lower your expectations just a little bit.
That should have been the subtitle for this movie.
Lower your xXx. Lower your expectations.
Lower your triple
Oh,
expectations.
expectations. Oh, you beat me by 1 second.
Car chase, that one's a given. We have a very convoluted entrance test. Guy gets girl.
Oh, you mean the first 2/3 of the movie?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, really, the entire movie, because right at the end, Samuel L. Jackson says, "Hey, you passed the test." The
That's
Gibbons
right.
And he
test."
looks right into the movie and goes, he looks in the camera and says, the real test was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. Double agents and/or betrayal,
Sure.
of which there are many. U.S. versus Eastern Europe. A bar and/or club scene.
That was one I should have known. I should have guessed there was going to
I-
be Matrix nightclub kind of scene.
100%. I didn't even think about it.
You know was one I missed? I felt so dumb for missing 6 skateboard tricks.
Yeah, I actually have a note about that, so we'll get into that later.
Next on my list, bullshit gadgetry.
Which
Villainous
that is unironically
monologuing.
the best part of the movie.
What were you gonna? Oh, the bullshit gadgetry.
Yeah, my favorite part.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Your favorite part wasn't his giant fur coat, because that's clearly the best part of this movie.
No, I like gadget montages in movies. Like every time they go to see the smart person to give him a bunch of gadgets, I'm here for it. I love gadgets.
Except the smart person sucks so bad in this movie.
He looks like I wrote low poly Jim Carrey.
and the gadgetry, like it isn't even. It's like the dude just says, "Hey, give me everything," and the guy gives him everything, and
And
there's
he uses
zero.
none of it.
Yeah, and he does. Yeah, he he ejects the roof and calls it a day.
Yeah, he ejects the roof. He uses like one a whaling gun, and then otherwise it's pretty much it.
You mean a harpoon?
Yeah, I cannot think of the word.
A whaling gun from the days of old.
Okay, did you have any more on your list?
Just ridiculous explosion.
Sure. Triple explosion, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I want to just, before we get super far into the movie, I really want to just hop on real quick and say that, Preston, it's your fault that my Google search history now involves the words XXX movie, XXX movie 2002, XXX movie 2002 Vin Diesel. Because that was the process that it took me to get to this particular film.
That makes me so relieved because that's exactly word for word my search history. I clicked XXX and then Google is like, "Hey buddy, safe search is on, right?"
Google was like,
you're not going to see what
probably
you want to
want
see."
that.
And then I was like, "No, XXX movie." And they're like, "Yeah, we know what you're asking for. We're not going to show it to you quite yet."
They're like, "No, we get
And
it.
I
We got
had-
to talk to your mom though first."
And then it was like then I searched what I searched was XXX Xander Cage because for some reason I knew his name was Xander Cage.
Man, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Google like leaned over like, "Hey buddy, Like we do have that, but is this what you want? And I was like, no, the 2002 PG-13 action movie produced by Sony Pictures.
That's just a little horny, not extremely horny.
Just the right amount.
It's just the correct level of horny.
I might disagree with that one, but we'll get into it later.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for that. My wife's gonna have some questions, so I'll just send them your way if that works.
That's perfect. Because my conscience is clean. You're the one who searched it.
Look, man.
Yeah. So I mean, the movie opens, dare I say, with a bang.
No, it opens up with a
You've got a dude stealing something, and this crazy fight scene where a guy zip lines in. Which, rewatching, there are at least 3 or 4 zip lines in this movie.
There's a lot of zip lines.
I didn't
Weird amount of zip lining.
take a specific note of each one, but there's a lot of zip lining. Zip lines in, and then there's this big fight in a nightclub with some absolutely raging guitar and some great metal music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're on some Fury Road shit up there.
No, for sure. Especially the guy who has a literal flamethrower mask as he's going crazy. And it is, in my opinion, the best scene of the movie.
Yeah, it really might be. The like little in joke where the guy takes off a suit and they don't have to like lampshade that he thought he was going to a different kind of party. And it's just like a purely visual joke that just actually works. And it just sets you up for such disappointment every other moment in the movie.
100%, yeah.
And it's the only scene in the movie where there's like a little bit of mystery involved. Just like a little bit.
It's also one of the only scenes with like dramatic tension.
Exactly, yeah.
In it.
Like we don't know who this person is. We don't know what they've stolen. All we know is that there's a guy with a flamethrower mask on the stage playing guitar.
I have this theory that movies are only defined by how good the opening and the final part of the movie is. And fortunately, this had a great opening, but then the rest of the movie does suck pretty bad. So I feel like they got so close to me coming out of this movie going, man, that was awesome. Because that's all it takes, right? Is for a good final scene and a good opening scene. And then you leave the movie and you're like, that was a good time. I can't complain.
So you will, in fact, complain
The whole
later.
time. Well, we're going to complain right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot to say about the beginning. It's just I wrote that everyone was wearing all black. So I was like glad my prediction already was true.
The only note that I made is that this opening scene walked so that the John Wick 2 EDM rave could run.
Yeah, I noticed that as yeah, it is very, very John Wickish where he runs through the crowd and then gets shot, and then I love that he gets crowd surfed.
Oh yeah, very good.
People just passing this dead body around.
Okay, Preston, the next thing you have to do is move us through the plot.
This is going to be great because it's going to be Lincoln guiding me through guiding you guys through this conversation.
Well, the great thing is we're just going to cut out me guiding you, so it'll just sound like you have a plan.
No.
That should stay in.
No. If we're finished talking about the best part of the movie, we can certainly move. So the next thing that happens is we actually meet our protagonist, which is Mr. Xander Cage. And it's a heist.
Wait, that's not the next thing that happens.
You what?
Because it cuts to Nick Fury, and he's like, we need Suicide Squad. We need a Suicide Squad.
Yeah, you're right.
And everyone's like, really? And he goes, we need to send in our own snake. And then we cut to Vin Diesel, our snake for this movie.
Can we talk about his tattoos now? Because the introduction of him is just the XXX tattoo, and then it pans around his face, but it does that like 8 times in this movie.
It does it so much. I made a note of how often does it show his tattoos. Also, the fact that he has 3 X's on his neck, and then Samuel L. Jackson is the one to tell him, maybe you should go by XXX. Like, he wasn't going by XXX before this, but he had 3 X's on his neck.
Well, he had an X and then 2 sort of reflections of that same X kind of behind it, so you could see where he might have gotten lost on that one. Well, and by that logic, he's got a star tattoo on his right nipple, so he might as well be Star Nipple.
I actually would have preferred that.
I wish this movie was called Star Nipple.
Would have made our Google searches a lot easier to
It would not have. It would have just been a longer walk for an equally short trip.
Oh, the scene where he gets introduced and they have all the cameras in the car. I love that since Sony made this movie and paid for it, every camera is Sony branded. And the reason I think it's so good is they actually cut a little rectangle out of the protective cases just for the Sony logo.
You gotta see the Sony logo.
That's amazing.
He says dick 9 times in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
He also says Xander Zone.
He
the
does
first time.
also say Xander Zone.
I think he says something along the lines of, "Hey, Dick, welcome to the Xander Zone."
Yeah.
In your mind, how is that spelled?
Xander
Because
Zone?
for me, it's spelled Xone. Zone.
No, it's definitely XXX ANDER space XXX ONE.
One. And also, this is the first time I make this note several times. It says Xander Cage is a gamer.
Yeah.
He wants you to know that he's a gamer.
He wants to be very
just
clear. But just
everyone-
PlayStation.
PlayStation, Sony PlayStation, actually PlayStation 2. Big fan of PlayStation 2 first-person shooters. Doesn't mention any particular games, but he is a gamer.
Can we for a second, why I want to hear your guys' theory. Why did he pick this politician? Because the two offenses that he states are, one, he's anti-video game, so that's a possibility. But then two, he's anti-rap. Is there not like a worse politician that he could have maybe gone after?
There's not like maybe a corrupt politician or like
Yeah.
Well, you're forgetting there's a "skateboarding is a crime" bumper sticker on his car. So clearly,
Hey, is that true? I missed that. Is there a
I'm
skateboarding
pretty-
is a crime
I'm
bumper
pretty
sticker?
sure that's what it says.
on the senator's car.
I think so.
Well, okay, never mind.
Okay.
I retract
Well,
my
Hang
point.
on. No. I'm kind of worried
John,
now.
I don't know why you're so confused that a gamer would be mad at an anti-gamer kind of person, you know?
Well, he does.
True.
He does later say that he's done a lot of crazy stunts and this for a lot of causes, and that this is the first one he's ever believed in. Not talking about the senator, he's talking about like the rest of the plot. So I wonder if maybe he's just going around and somebody's like, "This guy hates video games," and he's like, "Well, I steal his car and I throw it off a cliff." Then
Do you think Xander Cage is like a sociopath and he's just like trying to find something that will make him feel?
that's possible.
And so like all the well, he is a gamer, just so you know, but all these justifications are like,
Now, Lincoln, do you feel that he's if in your professional opinion, do you think that he's a gamer?
I do in fact think he's a gamer.
What are you basing that off of?
Well, I'm basing on the fact that he that he mentions PlayStation 2 several times. He mentions first-person shooters. He seems very defensive of games. He's kind of casually sexist, which is also very gamer of a quality for him.
That's true. Can I provide a little counterpoint to your theory, though? Because I think you're reading too much into this movie, and by saying that he's a gamer, I don't think they've given us enough evidence to believe that, because he does have muscles, big ones.
That is true.
So
That's
I
true.
also disagree. I don't know that it explicitly says that he's a gamer.
Well, I mean, I think you kind of just gotta read the subtext, read in
the
between the
subtext.
lines.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Preston, we forgot about the subtext. We were being dumb
Sorry.
idiots.
I forgot that this
and
is
by
a
that I
deep
mean the
movie with lots
subtitles.
of depth that has to be explored. You really have to dig deep.
And
to
all that depth
understand.
is the depths of being a gamer. Well, this is the crazy thing is like even though he's a gamer, he does like touch a woman. So
Whoa.
there's like a really glaring inconsistency that I'm choosing to address because I want to open up this discussion.
But like as a friend or sister, though, right, Lincoln?
No,
What?
that's crazy. Like women are attracted to him even though he is a gamer.
Even though he plays video games?
Yeah, it must have something to do with his muscles.
It
or
must
the
be the
fact that
muscles.
he's the main character.
I don't think it's that one.
because they all want to get to the Xander zone.
They're in his zone. I'll tell you what. Do you guys know?
You do not choose whether or not you enter the Xander zone.
No, the Xander zone chooses you. Do you know when Tony Hawk Pro Skater came out? Does anybody have that off the top of their heads?
I do not. I'll check though.
Can you please? Because this just reeks of like peak popularity, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and then maybe 3 or 4 years for them to make this movie.
1999.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's about there, isn't it?
That's like the 2.5 years it would take to develop and release a movie. They were like just really influenced by Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, they were just...
You know what though? If it was just a straight remake, a cinematic adaptation of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I think I would have liked it a lot more.
I'm
still waiting on the Tony Hawk Pro Skate-O-Matic universe.
Skate-O-Matic universe. John, you wanted to talk about the skateboard tricks. Was that...
Yeah.
What else did you have on the skateboard tricks while we're on this Tony Hawk?
No, that's a good segue. This is
okay.
the second movie in a row, and this is skipping a little bit, so we can jump back in a second. But this is the second movie in a row that I've watched for you absolute weirdos that that has so much Foot Clan from the Ninja Turtles energy at some point in the movie. Because this one, he's got his like weird groupies that go around and do cool skateboard tricks on the weird half pipe and are just drinking. And I guess there's women
at his house.
Oh,
well, no, they are not
the
drinking.
party?
You do not see a single alcoholic beverage.
Oh, I missed that. That's wonderful. How wholesome.
Wait.
But then in Real Steel, there's the Anthony Mackie's like underground fighting ring. It's got the skis of the Foot Clan. That's really my only note. Every time I see that, I think to myself, actually, every time I watch pretty much any Ninja Turtles, I think to myself, like, I would join the Foot Clan almost immediately. Like, I would not think about it for long.
I want to talk about the skateboard tricks because when Xander Cage comes back after doing his wicked cool and pro gamer anti rap trick, he goes in this building and then someone walks up to him and goes, "What is up with that crazy trick?" And they're not talking about the trick that he just did because live streaming wasn't invented yet. So that's like, going on tape. They have to upload that later. But how much do I want someone to come up to me and say, "Lincoln, what is up with that crazy trick?"
What's up with that crazy trick?
Well, you got to start doing some crazy tricks then, bud.
Yeah, you should do some crazy tricks.
Yeah. I think that's like my calling. Like I want, but maybe we can like go beyond that. We can make that like your greeting, like, "Oh, hey, what's up with that crazy trick?"
Oh, I like that. Maybe that's like our send off for this podcast. Is just
it's been a long time. What is up with that crazy trick?
What is up with that crazy trick, my dude?
So, Jonathan, my question for you is, my friend, what is up with that crazy trick?
That's a good question, and I have absolutely no response to that, other than that you did just remind me that he puts it on tape and sends it out to people, which is my favorite thing because the director of this is also the director of the first Fast and Furious movie, in which the whole heist was based around DVD players, and I love that his movies are just like one step behind what a cool movie might be. Just
so what would be the cool movie equivalent of a DVD player?
Well, like a good heist for money, or I don't know, like...
I was thinking like Blu-ray player, maybe.
Yeah, like a portable like Blu-ray player.
or PlayStation 2s.
Yes. Perfect.
So then we start we meet Xander, end of the party, and then we start getting into his very convoluted entrance exam in a diner where he wakes up. And conveniently, this extreme sports crazy athlete is suddenly very observant.
My note said, "I bet everyone in this diner is an actor." And I was like, yes, I got it.
Well, no, Lincoln, because everyone in movies is an actor, so...
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was still right.
And I like that it's not just like observant, it's very deep observant with, so-and-so reading a Financial Times newspaper on a day that the market's not open. It's like very pinpoint, like crazy secret agent James Bondy kind of stuff.
Well, it's very Sherlock is what it is.
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Sherlock with 3 X's at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. XXX.
No, I feel like
Sherlock underscore triple X.
Underscore. I feel like it's not even Sherlock. It's like, what's that movie? Guys, this is not going well. What's that movie where
The Great Mouse Detective.
All right. Where he remembers everything. It's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Slumdog Millionaire?
Slumdog Millionaire. It's like Slumdog Millionaire kind of information because he's like, my aunt used to work at a restaurant and she would never. And this is how he became a secret agent, is because he just...
Yeah.
Again, he like blind lucked his way into it.
And also, isn't it so funny that the director decided to do a heist in a diner with Samuel L. Jackson there.
And absolutely zero references.
That's a very
Like
good point.
we're gonna do a Pulp Fiction in everything but name. Like we're not gonna call attention to the fact that this is the opening scene of Pulp Fiction that we're doing right here.
Well, everything but name and quality and style and good
quality
writing.
and idiosyncrasy and like enjoyment and pacing.
Sure.
But it does have Samuel L. Jackson
It sure does.
as Nick Fury, as we mentioned earlier.
There's something about that diner scene that feels so dead to me. Like, I think it's handled in the least climactic way possible. Like, there's the idea, when you explain that scene to me now, the idea of, oh, and then he, like, sussed out that they were all actors, and then he got into a firefight, but he was going to be... All that sounds cool, but it's just handled in a way where you're like, I don't care at all. Like, even slightly.
I think the problem might be the fact that Xander Cage looks right at the camera and explains the entire scene beat for beat right after we watched it. Like we weren't gonna take him at his actions for like the camera wasn't gonna tell us he was being observant. He has to tell us. He's like, guys, I'm really observant. I noticed all this stuff. And then it's like, yeah, that's why the scene feels dead. The movie has no interest in showing it to you. They tell Vin Diesel, who, you know, I must admit his reading skills are phenomenal.
Yeah.
He tells him to tell us what's going on.
Yeah,
It's just a bad scene.
It's a terrible scene. Like,
And like Samuel L. Jackson gives him absolutely no time to live in that moment of like, I could have gotten shot. He fights the guy and he instantly stands up and he's like, congratulations, you solved my riddle.
right, exactly. Yeah, and then it's immediately boom, back to sleep, wake up in Colombia. There's zero there's zero room for the scene to like breathe.
Zero. Yeah, and at that point, why do we have that scene? Because him being
It's totally
observant
redundant.
it's not important ever.
Right, and his observance it never comes into play in the rest of the movie.
Not at all.
And it's totally out of
So
character.
here's my question.
What?
My question is, what game do you think he played that enabled him to have this skill?
Spot it. Just pattern recognition, and that's it.
Yeah, he did a lot of road trips, so he just did I Spy all the time.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
he
car
was
bingo.
real into Where's Waldo.
Bingo. Yeah, he played a lot of Crash Bandicoot, and he just couldn't take his eyes off it.
Yeah, and then from there we get into another action scene in Colombia.
Preston, that was such a good job
Thank you.
moving us on.
Hey,
That was
Proud of
great.
you.
I'm trying here.
We all noticed. We were all seeing it.
And they get kidnapped at presumably a cocaine farm. And,
Not presumably.
Well, yeah,
it's
actually,
very
no,
much a
that's
cocaine
true.
farm.
But they
For
never
sure.
they never say it is.
Oh, but they do. A guy's
sure
like,
it is.
cocaine. Look, it's a cocaine leaf. Do you know how much
And
this
then he
goes
takes
for
a
on the
little
streets?
piece of it. I would love to watch that guy try to sell just an actual regular cocaine leaf.
That'd be incredible.
Oh, I promise this is cocaine.
It'll
I
be
promise.
cocaine. If you just let it sit in the sun for a minute, it'll become...
I'm not going to do anything about this process. This is all up to you.
What was the
DIY.
waitress's job in the NSA? I know that's jumping back a little bit, but what does she do? Is she literally just there to perform tests on people?
I would hope so.
Or is there a spin-off movie that we could see of her just going around kicking ass, taking names in high heels? Because
I would
joke's
love
on
that.
him, her legs are both prosthetics, so she doesn't feel her ankles at all. Sorry, back to the cocaine farm. I just remembered that.
So we have this scene that does a much better job of introducing Xander, because it's actually him doing extreme things like being pulled out of an airplane with a parachute, and he does some pretty sweet jumps on a dirt bike.
He does some incredible jumps on a dirt. I wish he had done those jumps on a dirt bike in the diner.
Oh, absolutely.
That would have been a movie.
No, that would have been just like smush the two scenes together. Like everything
Yes.
happens
Or
at
just
the diner. But
Maybe completely cut out the diner entirely.
No.
Just
no.
just have him
Diner's
wake
critical.
up.
Diner's critical. We've already established that.
You
Oh,
gotta
okay,
do the
never
diner.
mind.
Come on. You can't have an introduction without a diner scene.
I do like the idea of this being a diner in Colombia that is also a cocaine farm.
Oh no.
it's like
just,
a Tomorrowland situation where you like enter
it's
the
just
reality
a heist
of
at
the
a diner,
cocaine
but
farm.
somehow he has to escape and ride back in on a dirt bike. And
Oh, that works.
that's
that works
the
for
whole
me.
thing.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for running over 6 of our agents with a dirt bike, but they were, our agents. Like, oh, you passed the test.
For sure.
Infinitely more
The dirt bike was an
entertaining.
agent.
Anyways, but we actually get to see him torture, keep his mouth shut, and actually try to save a dude, which haven't seen before.
Which, can we talk about that dude real quick? Because the only reason he's friends with him or likes him at all is because he's equally bald. That's the only reason that we were given for them liking each other.
Can we talk about how casually everybody on that plane is just okay with having been kidnapped by the NSA and sent to their deaths?
Yeah, they're just like,
ha,
Sucks to suck.
diners. Am I right?
yeah, Tuesdays are weird.
No, John, it was a Sunday. Just so you know.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. You're right. It was a Sunday. How I hate that that's like a canonical detail in XXX that you know.
That it has to be important.
But I think like the movie was so clearly telling us like you are never going to see these people again. Like we're not going to bother to give them personalities because they are all gone.
Well, and I don't think either
they could have all died.
I don't think either of them actually made, like, one of them definitely dies, and I'm pretty sure the other dude dies. But yeah, it's an infinitely better scene introducing, and there's some great
infinity
big dumb
times zero
explosions.
is still zero, so.
Well, but there's dirt bikes and great big dumb explosions, Lincoln.
Okay, fine.
That is true. I will say,
accept that.
for the first like 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, however long it takes to get to that point, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. This kept me in. This got me going. I liked this.
But the setup from this scene has absolutely zero effect on the rest of the movie.
Also true.
Yep.
It's not like so here's actually why we had you here. They just say, no, you were just a distraction. Like, go fuck yourself. You're in this now. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that no one in the entire movie ever tells Xander Cage what the plan is.
Oh, that's great. I really enjoy. I wrote several times, is this movie about something? Like, should we know what's happening right now? I like that. No,
Like,
it doesn't matter. You don't care.
They drop him. He wakes up and he's like ready, and they're like, just go off vibes, man. Like, figure out what you're supposed to do. Argue with some guys. Like, just get there and get back out. Like,
No, they're just like, I don't know, get some information from somebody. All right, good luck.
That's a very good point.
and he never argues. So like, he must be like some kind of super genius who's like, well, no, it is already established because he is a gamer. He doesn't really need to know the plan. Like, what we didn't see is when he fell asleep, he saw a loading screen and it showed like the waypoints.
Right,
And
yeah.
he woke up and he has like a user interface over his eyes that's like, go to this red dot and speak to this man.
It's Avatar. He's just the Avatar being driven by somebody else.
By also Vin
Yes.
Diesel.
Preston, you do know that like video games work like this. Like we don't need to connect this to a different movie. We could just talk. Like I already was making the video game
No,
comparison.
Lincoln, I'm so
See,
sorry to kind of hop on that, but I'm kind of into the idea of Vin Diesel just piloting Vin Diesel.
What I do like about that image is Vin Diesel growing in like a in vitro chamber, but older Vin Diesel's like watching him grow.
Yeah, he's just got like a series of disposable Vin Diesel bodies ready to go.
Which I feel like is a good segue to talk about our
Fucking, how could it possibly be a good segue?
No. This is a good segue into talking about how you could take this movie, change like 2 or 3 things, and suddenly it's either Fast and the Furious or James Bond.
Oh, it's a James Bond movie, if 100%. Yeah, it's no question. This movie feels like they saw James Bond and went, that's old and tired. And then they were like, we can do something way cooler. And then they made this, and it was bad.
Right. Somebody said, hey, let's have James Bond, but like sort of anti-establishment in a very establishment way.
Right.
Do you think that the very first Vin Diesel Avatar clone was called AAA?
Oh, and now they're the XXX. Sucks.
No,
Terrible.
it started off at A, all the way
And
through.
then A, the B,
There's so many.
B, B, C, C.
He just keeps getting
this is
wasted
the
on these.
78th clone.
I mean, he's clearly hired to be on the Suicide Squad, so I mean,
He
that seems like a very
is.
practical thing.
I'm so sorry. I had to jump back a goof because I just love the idea of that XXX is like, that's his like numerical designation and that's why it's tattooed on his neck.
No, that's very good.
It's
Are
like-
they all tattooed in that stylistic a way?
Exactly that style. X is like just coincidentally works well with the like double reflection.
Well, no, there's a bunch of different Xander Cages, and they just pick the one that they need. It's like AAA is in like cursive.
Oh,
and they
okay.
just
And
needed
he's an
the extreme
accountant.
one for this particular.
Which version is the Helvetica one? Is that like a
HHH, obviously.
Is now what does he
He's
do?
a graphic designer.
Cool. I hate that.
He's like, look at all these clean lines. Lots of symmetry. Well balanced. Pleasing color palette.
Do you want that on an SVG?
And then from there, he just gets dropped straight into Germany, or is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, we're back on the actual
Sorry,
movie.
not
So we're
Germany.
talking about
It's either Germany or very Eastern Europe.
it's just like a vague not America, right? Did they say where
No,
it
it's
is?
Prague. They say it's in Prague.
Is it in Prague?
Is
okay.
in Prague? Okay. Oh yeah.
It's in Prague, and I know that because Prague is like the center of classical music. Like it was the birthplace of much of the best classical music for a long time, and not once do they like play the music associated with that country.
No, they
even
play
once.
something much better. It's called Firefight, and it's the opening song.
See, now, Preston, the way you said that made me think you have a little extra information on that particular number.
Oh no! I don't have any extra information on it. It's that it gets stuck in my head sometimes. I won't lie to you.
How is there enough like cohesive tune
No, there
in
isn't.
that song for it to get stuck in your head?
That song is essentially just like heavy metal scat. So it's just like
Right.
anything that sounds vaguely like it, he's got it stuck in his head. Well, I was just going to say, you mentioned that this is very much a Bond ripoff, which it is.
Yep.
With his own kind of just shitty little Q, who this might be part of the scene. I get lost in this movie pretty quick, but he at one point he hands him a set of goggles, and he says it's X-ray goggles, right? And he says it's every little boy's dream, which is creepy until you see what he's looking at, and it's just this chick's bones. Which is that every little boy's dream? To see some lady's bones?
I was really into like skeletons as a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see what a skeleton looks like.
I think it's implied what he's actually doing. You know.
No, I understand that it's
what the
implied,
what
but-
the goggles could do.
Again, I understand that, but he says it's every little boy's dream, and then the next shot is just her bones. It's her skeleton.
So you're telling me that if somebody handed you a pair of goggles that you could see skeletons with, that you wouldn't be stoked? Is that what is my understanding that correctly?
I mean, I can't truthfully say that I wouldn't be stoked.
Even more pointed question: when you were 12, if someone handed you a set of goggles that could X-ray anybody and see their bones, would you not be like so fulfilled by that?
I tell you what, for the second time this podcast, I'd like to retract my statement because good point. I would love that.
That brings me. One of my points that I wrote are like, this movie has this like childish. It's not innocence. It's just a sort of like childish like
Ignorance.
ignorance that's like almost charming sometimes. Like it's almost like cute to see like Xander Cage's idea of like what a cool action shot is, or like what the producers thought would be a really cool party, whatever. Like it's totally like a 12-year-old describing what he thinks a wicked awesome party would look like.
Definitely. Or like having him like ask a lady to dance and think that that's flirting, and she walks away and he goes, hey, I'm a really good dancer.
Which, yeah, I like that you said that it's easy to get lost in this movie because it is. Like,
It's so quick.
Like they literally, I bet they probably gathered like 6 teenagers into a room and said, hey, we're gonna make a sweet action movie, what should we do? And then they took every single one of the ideas written and
In
put
the
that
order
in.
that they were said.
Right.
No, they just wrote them on a bunch of pieces of paper and then threw them to the wind and saw what it kind of ended up as.
They made
guys
an
remember
AI
how-
watch Fast and the Furious and James Bond, and then just whatever.
And then
came
Mission
out
Impossible
became-
2.
Yeah, and Mission Impossible, and there you go. There's the movie.
Here are the movies that are recommended as similar to this, and it's hilarious to me. Mission Impossible 2 checks out. Quantum of Solace, The Gray Man, Transporter 2, A Good Day to Die Hard, and Fate of the Furious. I couldn't agree more with all of those choices. Just like pretty much the worst of every franchise. Lincoln, did you also get lost in this?
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes right now, and I'm like, I don't remember how many spy gear up montages there are. And also the fact that the movie ends and then Vin Diesel looks right at the camera, goes, "I'm not done yet." And then it goes on for another 30 minutes. Doesn't really help.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that wasn't like a cool moment. That was a warning from Vin Diesel. He's like, you can leave, but I'm not gonna.
I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about this, but the movie, when he escapes for the first time, and then he's told by Nick Fury, "Hey, I wanted you to do what you just did. It was all this cool thing." And then he meets the girl and they kiss. I was like, oh, sweet. The movie's over. And then it's like, no, it's not over. We have one more action set piece after this, the like only good action set piece in the whole movie. We have one more much worse action set piece to go through.
Yeah, the movie's like, no, idiot. We have another 45 minutes.
It definitely...
That it could have ended right there.
Preston,
Okay.
I want you to rate Preston the rock climbing technique when he attacks the compound.
I didn't write anything down about that, but I definitely thought about writing something down about that. His technique is not great, but I mean, it worked. He got the girl in the end, so.
Do you happen to know if
Wait, are
he
you
used
saying
a lot of chalk?
I mean, it didn't
You know
look
what?
like it, but that would have
know
messed
what?
with his all-black stealthy clothing.
Scratch my question, because the question Lincoln was about to ask was 100% better than mine.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just said the climbing skill was effective because he did in fact get the girl at the end. I really thought you were going to say because he reached the top, but you said because he got the girl. So in your experience
it's
as a
not
climber and a guide to other climbers, like, is that your metric you use for everybody?
Well, Lincoln, what you're not remembering is that at the top of every mountain is a girl.
And she's named after the mountain.
Right. Well, the mountain's named after her. She's eternal. She's been there forever.
She was there beforehand.
I mean, clearly it was effective because he completed his mission, which was to rescue the damsel in distress.
At that moment, though, his mission was just to get to the top, right? Like, it wasn't... When you go rock climbing, your mission isn't to later get Subway sandwiches.
Every cliff Preston has ever climbed, other people had tricked him into thinking there was a girl at the top.
They're like, no, bro,
And he
I know
still
we
falls
got you
for it.
last time. I know we dunked on you last time, but trust me, her name's Janelle, and she's great.
She's on top of Mount Janelle, I promise. And he's like, I have a hard time believing that there's a woman named Long's Peak at the top, but I want to see what she is. I want to meet Long's Peak.
I want to see
She
what
sounds
she
hot.
is.
Are we done talking about the I mean, what were you looking for as far as like the climbing feedback goes?
Oh, that's
Like,
fine. You did well.
Okay,
I don't know.
I can elaborate if you'd like, but
Preston, you have such a very specific set of skills, and it's very, very, very rare that those skills come in a movie just as tightly packaged as this particular one is for you. Like,
I mean, but the climbing is such a small. I mean, there's like 2 frames of him climbing.
Preston, how many movies do you think have a climbing scene in them? Because it's not a lot of them.
I mean,
Again, Mission Impossible 2 is one of them.
Mission Impossible 2 is one of them.
fair enough, I guess.
That scene used to get me so juiced as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you like define or maybe describe juiced?
Yeah, just like 100% amped. Like, it made me want to go climb some shit so bad. Like to this day, sometimes I see a thing and I want to just put on like a black tank top and the worst sunglasses ever made and climb it. Hey, this is how I judge movies sometimes. If you guys had paused this movie to go make like a sandwich halfway through, would you have been inclined to come back? Because I definitely kept it rolling a couple of times that I did have to like piss a little bit because I was like, if I stop this, I'm never going to start it again.
I actually got an invitation to go out to lunch with some of my friends about 40 minutes into the movie, and so much of me was like, what if I just stop watching it? Like, I have such a good idea of this movie. I bet I could fake my way through the rest of this discussion.
You know, I don't think there's any better way to explain this movie than that. To be perfectly honest. Because it does drag on and on and on. doesn't do a whole lot, especially because the next thing is we're introduced to the actual villains, which is Anarchy 99. Because you have to have a number at the end of, whatever your evil organization is.
Well, they're using the same avatar strategy. So like it used to be called Anarchy 98, but all of those, that was like a failed batch. So we're at 99 now.
See, I like to think that they're also gamers, and the gamer tags Anarchy 0 through 98 were taken.
It had to be the 99th.
I like that too. When we got to the scene of the main spy character talking to a woman who is been roped into this and isn't her choice to be here anymore, and she's like desperately wants to leave the situation, but maybe this new spy is the only way, and they're at a fancy restaurant while this happens. I got so sad because I could have been watching Tenet.
I think anytime the scene changed, I got so sad because I could have been watching anything else. I do, Lincoln, to that scene, I do love when the sniper guy, there's like one shot and he's hiding behind a statue of a giant man with a gun. I think that's incredible.
I also love how blown out the background is. Like it turns into like this like weird dream theater for just a second. Like,
oh, it's awesome.
No background at all. And you're like, wait, where is he? Like
is he in
heaven? Is he shooting down from heaven?
Yeah, the pearly gates open up and out comes the barrel of his gun. I was wondering what his plan was. The villain, because that was when I took a piss. And just left it running.
Do you want? So here's the. It's very So his plan.
Can I guess?
Yeah. No. Actually, yes. Do tell us the plot. I'm very.
The best I could figure was he's got Ahab, this dumb, worst designed vehicle ever made.
Hey, and it looks like a spaceship from Flash Gordon.
It really does. And his plan is to gas some cities.
All of them. All the cities.
All of the cities is his plan?
Yeah, all of them. And he has 8 missiles.
Wait, did it at any point, was there a connection that Vin Diesel had for all these scientists? Because I came back and
Absolutely
he's
not.
just like weeping.
No,
he just saw them through his special X-ray goggles.
Through his goggles.
Right, through the 12-year-old boy dream goggles. Yep. And
that can go through solid brick, but get stopped by the human skeleton.
Right,
which
exactly.
Is just amazing to imagine.
And then he watches them die, but he's crying after that. Like, that's important to me to note that he wipes away a tear.
No, it's because
he just saw a bunch of
forgetting how much
people
of this
get
movie
killed.
he still had to film and be a part of. And they had to take advantage of that emotion somehow.
He's like, we've only just begun. There's like a whole 2 action pieces that we haven't talked about yet.
I was about to say there's the snowboard sequence.
Yeah.
Which he has to do.
A thing that I only remembered because I looked at my notes and saw, let's see, snowboard jump is legitimately exciting. And I was like, snowboard jump? What the? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's in this movie.
No, and see, that's like... That whole thing could have been cut out, because it's some bullshit about how they have to take out this communications tower. When that communications
tower...
That's
the best action sequence in the movie, Preston.
It is.
That's the best one.
It is. But they don't...
That's the only one you can't take out.
It is. Except that he has to take out this communications tower for no reason. It's not like, hey, we take out the tower so that they can't communicate with Ahab and tell it what to do.
That would have been way better.
Right,
that would have been really good. Or they could have just tied it into him getting her out of the compound, but they didn't do that.
No.
Lincoln,
or they have to take out the communication tower, and that's why he puts the hard drive in the thing and makes it go off on its computer mission, because it's we can't control it, so we're just going to send it out anyways, and it'll just attack the first thing that it sees.
Oh, that's a good idea. Instead of it being just a blatant weak point in the Ahab.
Yeah. And then it also, I note that the fact that the plane they're driving is the Lockheed Electra, which is a very cool plane. It's one of my favorite planes.
This has been an episode of Planes with Lincoln. Is that your segment? Are you introducing a segment of just plane talk?
It's called I'll Get It Plane.
That was just plain bad.
Terrible. That thing had no wings.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
With the movie or with bad plane puns? Because I got both.
Yeah, sorry, my idea never really, it just didn't take off the way I hoped.
Yeah.
Sucks.
No lift there.
Are we talking? Can we finally talk about this dumb river sequence? Is there anything else we have to get through?
I was about to say, what was
before we
the
can talk
other
about-
action set piece that you were...
It was the last one.
Okay, yeah.
It's the
yeah,
final
yeah,
one.
yep,
Yeah.
Go for it.
I was so deep in the paint on this movie by this point that they said that there's a blue GTO traveling next to Ahab, and I got so viscerally angry that
It's not
isn't
blue.
at all blue. It's clearly purple. Like it's so clearly purple that you can tell the editors heard the line blue GTO, and then for the next like solid 5 minutes of the movie, it's very close-ups of Vin Diesel without any of the body of the car at all.
Which, like, isn't this a Hollywood movie? Couldn't they have ADR'd that and just
You would
changed
think so.
one single word?
You would think so, but they chose not to. And I was so angry about that I genuinely missed some of this movie.
I gotta say, I was surprised when he opened up the computer bay with the like 2002 giant hard drive in it that it wasn't Sony branded.
It should have been.
I was like, it really should have been. And also the fact that he sees it start to activate, and there are so many shots of him just like looking concerned at the missiles. Like he takes a look at the dials and stuff, and it's like, oh yep, this is way out of my league. As a gamer, I've never had to like use electronics before.
Well, there wasn't enough suspense in that scene. So they just really had to slow it down. Because this movie could not
I agree.
have been any shorter.
No, this was all killer, no filler, this particular movie.
They're like, we're only at 1 minute 52, and we really need to stretch it to 155. And they're like, oh, we have like 10 extra minutes of Vin Diesel looking at the missiles. Do you want to just like throw those in left and right during the sequence?
And I love that his whole solution is just is like obviously pulling the computer drive, but just taking one of the missiles and flipping it over. So that one pushes the machine down while the other two launch.
It's a very good idea. I do notice that he does the fake death, and he floats to the surface neck first so that we see his tattoo.
Well, you didn't know that the ink on that tattoo is extremely buoyant.
That's how he survives everything. That's how he gets so much air on the motorcycle.
Oh yeah, it just lifts him up by his neck. That's why he could like lean back on the back of the cycle and shoot someone, because he's been lifted up.
Yeah, if he wanted to, he could float around like a specter.
It's like, like puppies have like thicker skin right at the nape of their necks so they can be lifted up. He's got one so God can pick him up and tell him what a good boy he's being.
I love it when God picks me up by the tattoos.
Well, he originally only had the nipple one, and that was just so rough.
It was way too much. That nipple was getting super long. It was not good.
And so he's like, I'm going to put a really clear marker for God to pick me up. It will be so clear that this is where the spot I want to be picked up from.
Yeah, they're like, hey, why do you have that tattoo? Because X marks the spot where God grabs me. How is there not a Xander Zone, like a XXX video game? Maybe there was.
Okay,
I actually don't know.
Let's check.
It's just...
Oh, guys, it's so much better than we hoped it was.
Is there something?
xXx is a 2002 action video game developed by Digital Eclipse and published by Activision for the Game Boy Advance.
What?
I've been watching a lot more movies because it's summer, and I gotta say this was very much a low
Excellent.
point.
That's
in my selection of
exactly what I
movies.
wanted it to be, and I would be disappointed if it was anything else.
Lincoln, I would like to, if we're done, I'd like to reveal the...
Yeah, do tell us
next
what are we
movie.
watching.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Watching
Yeah.
for next week.
Because I legitimately think this is going to be a step up, okay, for you, Lincoln.
Okay.
We are watching Keanu Reeves' Constantine.
I've never even heard of that movie.
Heard of it, have not seen any of it.
Get ready.
Okay, do you have any homework or any information you want to give us about the movie before
I actually
next week?
my homework is know nothing about this movie going into it. That's my homework
Okay,
for you.
great.
Excellent.
Got it. Well, I think that's it for us. Thank
This
you
has
for
been-
listening. Oh, go
Oh, are
ahead.
you just gonna take?
do
You're
it.
just gonna go?
No, you take it.
Oh,
I did it last time.
Okay, well, I'm going to steal your line. Thank you for listening to Twinkie Talk, presented by the Evening Brothers. We have absolutely no way to contact us, and we're not on the internet yet. So I am Brother John.
I am Brother
I'm
Lincoln.
Brother Preston.
We'll see you next time.